Xcel says a transformer failure is to blame for an outage that knocked out power to roughly 200,000 customers today. It damaged other equipment and had a cascading effect, causing problems on the roads, with some RTD lines, and at the airport. Thanks for joining us. I'm Kim Christensen.
And I'm Phil Lipoff. The outage also impacted core electric customers. Xcel says that's because of the connectivity of the grid. Both utilities now say all customers impacted by the outage have had their power restored. 9 News reporter Rachel Krause has more.
On a sunny Sunday afternoon in Aurora, most were marveling over the weather. That is, until the lights went out.
I was just actually in the house playing Candy Crush.
I was in the basement, I was playing some games, so then the Wi-Fi turned off.
All of a sudden, kind of a boom, and then power was gone.
Yeah, we heard like a boom.
It was that big, like a sonic boom. It was like boom, kind of the whole house kind of shook. And then about a half an hour later, another one happened.
The power went out for tens of thousands of core electric and Xcel customers. Xcel said 145,000 were impacted at one point. The outage started at one of Xcel's substations, the company said. Soon after the lights went out, crews were out working at the South Abilene substation. The outage taking out Parker Police's emergency lines, even impacting operations at the airport. Some neighbors had a hard time figuring out just what was going on.
Nope, tried to call Xcel and there was too many calls and couldn't hear anything and stuff, so we didn't know what was going on.
Well, the lights came back on soon for some. Others hoped the outage wouldn't last long.
Yeah, because there's no heat and no electricity.
Go play some video games, like Fortnite.
And looking at the lighter side of the lights out.
I would say we're going out to eat for supper tonight, so that's okay.
Again, both Xcel and Core say that the power has been restored to all customers who are impacted by the outage. Xcel says the transformer that failed is being replaced. Rachel Krause, 9 News.
Ruby Hill Rail Yard finally opened for the season today, and what a day it was, because, you know, it was 60 degrees and sunny at the beginning of February. 9 News meteorologist Corey Rippenhagen is joining us. A storm might drop by a little bit.
Yeah, we got a storm coming by our area on Tuesday. I wouldn't expect there to be too much more snow accumulation added to that mound that they built out there at Ruby Hill, but it looks like they made a whole bunch of it during that cold snap and packed it in real nice, so it might survive through another warm stretch that we have coming up in the next few days. Here's the record for today. Now, we hit the 27th 60-degree day of the winter here in Denver, so that ties us for second place now. 34 is the record, and we're going to come pretty close to getting there by the end of the week with some warm temperatures on the way. Here is the box score for today. 62 degrees in Denver. 21 degrees our low, was pretty close to the normal low, but that high, man, that was well above normal, but not anywhere near this record of 73 degrees set back in the Dust Bowl era, 1934. Biggest storm we ever had on February 1st was back in 2016, where we got 6.9 inches. Here's the temperatures across the state tomorrow. Cloud cover will limit the heating, so we probably won't make it to 60 degrees tomorrow in Denver, but we do have a potential weather impact alert. There's just enough data coming in with this storm on Tuesday to lead to some isolated impacts, so I'll talk about those coming up in just a few minutes.
The partial government shutdown may drag into the week.
Republican House Speaker Mike Johnson says he is hoping to have a spending package up for a vote by about Tuesday. The partial shutdown took effect yesterday, 1 week after federal officers shot and killed Alex Preddy in Minneapolis. That shooting led to new scrutiny over a bill to fund the Department of Homeland Security. Democrats demanding that funding be tied to changes to the immigration enforcement. White House struck a deal with Democrats to temporarily fund the agency at current levels for 2 weeks while they negotiate those details. The Senate passed a funding package for DHS and several other agencies on Friday. The House is expected to vote on that this week.
As lawmakers work on a deal to fund DHS, our Angeline McCall has been talking with experts about what's happening in Minnesota. Angeline?
Just today, Kim, 2 agents involved in shooting Alex Preddy in Minneapolis were named, with them being part of the department for several years, according to ProPublica. Following that shooting, Border Patrol Commander Greg Bovino left the city with questions of when the operation there will end.
In Minneapolis, protesters have called on ICE and Border Patrol to leave. Border Czar Tom Homan said earlier this week that's a possibility.
When the violence decreases, we can draw down those resources.
What is happening in Minneapolis is something immigration attorneys say they haven't seen before.
We're witnessing something really extraordinary.
Violetta Chapin at CU Boulder says CBP would typically be at the border, not in interior cities.
What we're seeing now is Customs and Border Patrol officers in Minneapolis and in other cities assisting ICE. Now, they are both immigration agents. They are all immigration agents.
Chapin says CBP would typically have more quote-unquote militarized training. Critics worry if that's led to more violence.
And so I think it is an extraordinary uptick in the behavior and the violence that we are seeing from ICE in a way that we have never seen before.
The state of Minnesota sued federal officials earlier this month, arguing the operation there violated the Constitution. A judge declined to halt that operation.
Besides an increase in on-the-ground operations, ICE is also working to expand detention capability with the possibility to open up more facilities here in Colorado. In the studio, Angeline McCall, 9 News.
A girls hockey team from California pushed through tragedy to win the Western Girls Hockey League Finals in Littleton today. On Thursday, a snowplow driver lost control on I-70 and hit a team van carrying members of the Santa Clarita Lady Flyers. The father of a player was killed. Several other people were hurt. The team told us they wanted to compete for the families involved, and today they won the championship in an overtime thriller.
Our hockey community is not as big as like basketball or football, but we're all one giant community and we all support each other, and my mind was just like, I'm so grateful to be a part of this.
The team told us the father was well recognized in the tattooing community. Tattoo artists in California have helped raise $50,000 for the man and player's family. Denver Nuggets star Aaron Gordon is sidelined for a few weeks with an injury, but he's putting much of his focus towards mental health.
9 News sports anchor Chris Tavares sat down with him for a one-on-one interview to learn more about that.
Watch as he plants right there. Yep. You see how his leg buckled?
I haven't been the same person since, and I think it is manifesting itself in injuries, in soft tissue injuries. You know, I think losing my brother has done something. It's showing up viscerally in my body because, you know, your body doesn't lie. Your body can't lie. As much as you like to trick your mind, your body remembers. So now it's just about working, about exercising those uncomfortable memories and sufferings so my body can let go and relax and do what it needs to do, because right now, yeah, it's holding on and I'm pulling stuff.
You're an artist, like you paint. I know you're in the studio a whole bunch. How does that stuff also help you with your mental health and kind of refocus and recenter you?
It puts things into perspective. It helps you express recurring thoughts, and helps center you, brings you back down to earth, and puts you in touch with your humanity, and also it shows you that you're not alone in what you're feeling.
These recordings have only been on the UC Health app for the patients to use for a little bit, and this is before they launch on Spotify on Monday, but over 100 hours have been streamed of this. What does that mean to you that you're already making such an immediate impact on people and helping them kind of center and work on their mental health?
It's nice. It's really humbling. I'm proud of that. That's part of my vocation. You know, part of my purpose is to help people focus and help people alleviate some of the suffering that comes with being a person. Or I guess giving people tools to help alleviate some of the suffering.
Chris, this is such a good interview to hear more about this. I mean, we've known about his brother. We see him with his nephews, but he is the heart and soul of that team.
He's called Mr. Nugget for a reason. Really introspective, thinks deeply about what he's going to say, and cares really deeply about mental health and trying to help other people, which is why he's so excited about this initiative that he's doing with UC Health. But we're going to have an extended portion of this conversation coming up tonight on Overtime at 10:35 right here on 9 News.
Look forward to it.
Yeah.
Excited for it.
Chris, thank you.
Thank you.